Welcome to the Just Be a Man podcast. Please note, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Each individual is providing their own independent opinion. Follow, like, subscribe, and comment at Just Be a Man 2020 on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube. Also, expect new content every Wednesday on Spreaker.com or your favorite podcast app.
Welcome to Just Be a Man. This is your host, Chuck. And what do you think about buying black? Buying black, can you do it? Is there, do we own enough businesses and, for us to truly shop black? Let me throw something out at you guys real quick. In the Asian community, the average dollar circulates about 28 days. In the Jewish/white community, that same dollar in that community circulates throughout that community between 21 to 23 days. In the African American or black community, the dollar stays in that community for about 6 hours. Our topic today is buying black, and I want you guys to really think about that. African Americans in the United States, we make up a huge sum of the buying power of this country. But our dollar, in my opinion, I feel like we waste our dollar because we don't spend it in our communities the way we should. I think we could be thriving a lot better. So somebody jump in. Let's speak on that. Let's talk about buying black. Can we do it? Is it? Do we need to do it? Charles, what do you think?
I think in theory, that is something that we absolutely would thrive to do. However, just in practicality is very difficult because we just, as a people, we don't own much, collectively. I think we have the ability and the capability to duplicate our past successes in areas like Tulsa and Rosewood and,
Yeah.
even take it to another level. But unfortunately, today, the way we're structured, unfortunately, that's a very difficult undertaking. I think all of us had the opportunity to check out, Netflix and what was the guy's name? Killer Mike.
Killer Mike,
And
yeah.
yeah, the first episode where he focused on his attempts to buy black and
Hmm.
the difficulties that he ran into trying to do so. So again, in theory, I think it's something that we should seek to do. But
Hmm.
in terms of, playing this whole thing out and having the ability to buy everything that complements our lifestyles in a black fashion, I think that's just a very difficult undertaking right now, the way we're structured today.
Yeah, I agree with that. And for those of you listening, if you haven't had the opportunity to check out Killer Mike on Netflix, it's worth the watch. Now, Killer Mike isn't for everybody, so let's put the disclaimer out there. Some of his views, some of his ideology, to some it may be over the top, but I think he has a lot of valid points. Especially with segregation. One of the points he made with segregation was he thought it was a bad move. Why? Because prior to segregation, we had to spend money in our communities. We didn't have a choice. But when we did that, our communities thrived. And there is something to that. Anybody want to touch on that? Or Mike? I'm sorry, Wayne?
Yeah, I'll touch on that real quick. Yeah, so you're right. I think, the segregation thing, if for our age group, we didn't really live in that, right? We're
Right.
old heads, but we're not that old. And we didn't really live through that. And it was such a big part of the civil rights movement that things were integrated. And it seems like a really good move. But like you said, at the time of segregation, there was a lot of successful black businesses because they had no choice,
Right.
right? And so everyone kind of got along and did what they had to do because if they wanted to eat, if they wanted to do anything, everything was separate.
Hmm.
So they had to patronize their community. Today, or not today, but once the integration happened and now you can go spend that dollar everywhere, anywhere else, I think people took off to go do that.
Hmm.
So they thought that maybe that lunch counter was a little bit better than where they was eating at, or that hotel was a little bit better than where they could stay. So I just think it's it's a mentality, I guess. And I mean, again, but economics is everything, right? And so once they did that, once that integration happened, you get all those businesses failed, or excuse me, died slowly,
Yeah.
or maybe not that slowly.
Well, yeah. I mean, I couldn't tell you why. I mean, I'm sure we've got some folks listening that could send some emails and let us know exactly why. But I mean, some of the things I can imagine is, you know, white folks just didn't want to sell to us. You know, we were forced to buy products from white folks and to resell, and sometimes we had to buy it at an overinflated rate, and all kinds of stuff. There was all kinds of things that hindered us from going into business, or allowing our businesses to thrive. But let's fast forward. What about today? You know, today we have, and this is a huge jump. I mean, we're talking about going from when our businesses, we had businesses like Black Wall Street and all that, and then we're talking about how those businesses were, let's be honest, they were taken from us. Okay. We were successful, we were thriving, we were doing what we were supposed to do, and then the Klan and white supremacists came in, and they tore Tulsa down, man. Because they saw what was happening. We were thriving. We were doing the damn thing. And I couldn't have it. So let's back.
Well, think about it,
I'm
though,
sorry, go
Chuck.
ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but think about it.
No, you good.
If you think about the boycotts, the bus boycotts with Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, that whole thing. Why did that work? Because the bus companies were hurting. They weren't getting that
Yes,
dollar, right? And so they realized that, what, our capitalistic views is more important than our social views, right? I mean, that's really what it was, right? They'd rather get that dollar than put your foot on somebody. So, I mean, I think
right.
that's a part of it too.
Okay.
But
Well, that's
what that showed was the buying power, the capabilities. Even though the wages were very, very low, it's volume, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Perfect segue. Our buying power dictated what happened. So fast forward to today. It's still the same thing. It's still our black dollars. Our black dollars keep Nike in business. Our black dollars keep these designers in business, because let's face it. Even with the boycott and Gucci and all this other stuff, who's buying Gucci? Okay. For the most part, it's African Americans, and it's on the heels of these rappers and the videos, and these are the things that are being portrayed in our community. So we're the consumers of these things. So what do? We got black designers. Why aren't we supporting our black designers? Why aren't we? I'm sorry, we were gonna say
Yeah,
one.
I'm gonna let somebody else talk, but I just wanted to say real quick. I mean, I think that there are a couple of designers that have done some things, and I'm not calling people out for in a negative way, but you had these companies like Fubu, you had Rockaware, all these companies that started off and did well, and then they
Mm-hmm.
sold. Right? Is that a bad thing? I don't. It's a business, so it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. But now people who are wearing Fubu, they're not supporting black business. Rockaware is not a
Right.
black business. It's just not. I think
Yeah.
Yeezy got a sneaker. Um, Kanye got a sneaker out, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand it's very expensive, but I'm just saying.
So it's
But are
Kevin
we
Hart
really
sneakers.
supporting those things?
I like Kevin Hart. I looked at his sneakers. I looked at Kevin Hart sneaker. I can't afford $600 sneaker. Yeah,
Size 3 sneakers?
listen, it's still $600. Size 2 or 3.
I
That's
didn't
two.
even know
That's two
Kevin Hart
expensive
had
clothes.
sneakers.
Yeah, Kevin Hart is the first comedian to have a deal with Nike. But
They call them booties.
Wow.
right. Well, my
I was
thing
gonna say
is
that for infants.
right.
My bad. I'm sorry.
You know, you know what? I don't need this in my life. So anyway,
Well, hey,
I would
for the
just say
record, I wasn't talking about you. You took that personal.
this
Infants.
whole thing is interesting to me because I support small business. Now, when it came to black businesses, there's not in my area. There's not a lot of black business. There's a lot of small businesses. A majority are Caucasian businesses. You have a lot of Latino businesses. There's very few small, if any, black businesses. If there may be restaurants and stuff like that. But as far as e-commerce stuff, I didn't start realizing it till I started going on the website after this whole Black Lives Matter, the movement. which opened my eyes up to a lot of different things. So now I've been up online and just doing the research for tonight. I found out there's a lot of businesses out there, that you're able to get to, and hopefully, we'll
Hmm.
be able to do business with it, with them, soon. I'll take more looks at it because I mean, I'm overall, I believe in anybody, small business, but when it comes to buying black, that's been very tough over the years due to the fact that these big box stores and all these other different, stop and shops and different things like that. I think the bodegas, you have to be in that immediate area to actually be able to appreciate those little places like that.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, out of curiosity, the businesses that you know in your community that are small black businesses, do you see them being patronized as like you would? For example, I don't know the business in your neighborhood, but you have Starbucks over here, and then you got your black owned coffee shop over here. Do you see the disparity, or what do you see?
I see, I see lines out the parking lot for Starbucks. I can't even get into to
Yeah,
the parking lot to go to CVS because there's a Starbucks on the right, CVS is on the left, and that line is almost 50 to 60 yards long with these cars.
hmm,
Um,
right,
as far as the black restaurants that I do patronize, they have I see high traffic at different times of the day, but there's nothing like I see with Starbucks where you have people waiting outside, or you see on TV where people are waiting down the street, to get in these businesses. Now, with all this
yeah,
going on with the COVID-19, that changes things some, but I still think that we're able to patronize these businesses, but I think they market themselves a little more. But you don't see a lot of these businesses because due to their budget, they're not on TV. They're not even on the cable
yeah,
stations. And the ones that I go to, the little restaurants I go to, they're not even on the radio. It's word of mouth. And
yeah,
now it's on Yelp
yeah,
because of this BLM, be a Black Lives Matter movement. I see these businesses on Yelp now that I never seen before. So
yeah,
this whole movement is an awakening for me, not both commerce wise, but also intellectual wise, because I'm learning a lot about history and everything else. So I think it's all about how you incorporate what we're doing right now and what we're dealing with this whole thing. I'm taking it as a learning experience, but I'm also utilizing it as a tool to not only teach my family, but to patronize people a little more than what I've been doing.
fantastic. I'm gonna jump to Steph real quick, but before I do that, I want to touch on something real quick that Mike talked about or alluded to, and that was Yelp. Um, I'm a former, well, I don't say, well, I'm a current business owner, but I used to own a restaurant. And let me explain real quick my heartburn with Yelp. Um, Yelp, in my opinion, is a breeding ground for complainers. Why do I say that? Okay. If you're a small locally owned business, the people that come in to patronize your store, your return customers, all that, the people that really like what you're doing, they tell you in your face, hey, you guys are doing a great job. Look, keep up the good work. I told two friends and hopefully they'll come in, they'll support you, whatever. Or, if you're a forward thinking business person like myself, you've got comment cards and things like that. And again, they'll let you know instant gratification. Hey, you guys are doing great, whatever. All right. Or, I'm sorry, or they'll go to your personal page, your Facebook page, so that other people that like you, like-minded people, go to your page, they follow you and stuff like that. They, either shout you out or they give you, feedback or whatever. Or, I used to get inbox messages. Hey, I had a discrepancy today with one of your cashiers or whatever. And, but hey, it's, we're small business. We'll work it out. But in this society of cancel culture, if somebody has, let's say, a negative experience, they don't like the food, and for whatever reason they can't get a refund, whatever, they don't go on your Facebook page. They don't, tell two friends, or they may tell two friends, but you'll, for the most part, you won't know about that. What's the one way that they can really try to screw up your business? They go to Yelp, because Yelp is not only national, it's international. So you go on Yelp and they blast you and all this other stuff. You very rarely does anybody go to Yelp to, oh my God, I had a great experience at whatever restaurant. But if you have a negative experience, you want to make sure as many people as possible know about it. So you go on Yelp. So that's my issue with Yelp. Other than the fact that also Yelp, they hold reviews. So as I was explaining to somebody else that, I had maybe 200 positive reviews, I may have had 30 negative reviews, but then I had 200 positive reviews hidden. So when I call Yelp to say, "Hey guys, what's going on?" "Oh no, what happened? It's an algorithm, and the algorithm does it because it looks like you're padding your stats, this, that, and the other." I'm not. This is a serious conversation to have with them. They said it was an algorithm holding those things back. However, if you advertise with us to the tune of $5,000 a month, we can release that because it shows, I guess, whatever. So for those people that are shaking their head in disbelief, go to Facebook, go on to I Hate Yelp or go on to Yelp, whatever, and you'll see these things. And there are lawsuits out there that cover these things. And so that's my issue with Yelp. I just wanted to put that out there because I really feel like it's a breeding ground for complainers. Charles, real quick, Stefan was next, but you want to jump in? You got something you want to speak?
No, I mean, what I was going to say with regards to, reviews and things of that nature, I'm one of those consumers. I try to do my due diligence. Number one, I do try to support Black businesses, but at the same time, I'm not just going to settle for anything in terms of poor treatment, for example. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I will. I'm one of those. I will go. I will read the reviews, things of that nature. But we also have a situation with some of our Black businesses, not all of them, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the professionalism is not quite where it needs to be on
No
occasion.
doubt.
And I think that's sort of the elephant in the room, because we do have a tendency sometimes to be, a little judgmental,
Mm-hmm.
as customers and things of that nature. But we also need to understand that there are frontline employees that represent businesses that are hurting them, and ownership has no idea that their front
Mm-hmm.
line is basically representing their business in that fashion. Now this is, not only Black businesses but white businesses. There was
Mm-hmm.
recently a situation up in Baltimore at a restaurant that went viral, where there was this guy, who did
Yeah.
not allow this young man into the restaurant because he wasn't dressed appropriately. But it was obvious that there was another kid that was dressed just like him that had just finished eating there.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, this is a frontline employee that did damage to that business, and ownership wasn't even aware of it. So I'm saying things like that happen on a regular basis,
It's gonna
and
happen
that
some
is
more.
something. Yeah, it's going to happen some more, but I think it's incumbent upon us.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm going with this is that we not just write it up in reviews and trash the business. I think it's
Right.
important that we give feedback
Right.
directly to ownership and
Oh yeah.
let them know that, look, this is what took place
Mm-hmm.
with me, and I want to patronize your business. I
Mm-hmm.
want to give you another opportunity, but you need to know what's going on with your frontline employees. And I think things like that are important, just offering that feedback.
Oh yeah, no
So, Steph,
question. I agree with
I'm
that
sorry.
150%. Yeah, Stefan.
Well, I'll tell you, I think first of all, we need to look at a little history. Um, Black Wall Street was created um, because we basically were not getting the services that we needed and desired and wanted. The Tulsa riots initially started because a boy accidentally stepped on a white girl's shoes, and that was the alarm. That was all that was needed to actually start the riot. But really, it started before that. It mainly became out of jealousy and economic
Success.
disparity. It was our success, their disparity, and you know, it still exists. It's subliminal, but it still exists. Now, I grew up right outside of D.C., and I remember black farmers selling cows, pigs, chickens. I mean, some of those black farmers were family members. I remember my parents, I'm sorry, my grandparents canning stuff.
Yep.
We had to be sufficient. And then once, just like Killer Mike said in Trigger Warning, as a matter of fact, that's the name of the show. Trigger Warnings by Killer Mike on Netflix. You know, um, you know, once segregation ended, we jumped on it and went to the places that we weren't allowed to. and we started fueling their economies. Can we get back to that? Yes, we can get back to that if we need to. But I think at this point, we should hold our dollars hostage. Support these black businesses and only support black businesses as much as you can. Now, just like Killer Mike showed, we can't get there because we don't make the cars. We can't power our vehicles because we don't make the gas or distribute the gas. But there are other things that we can do to show that we do have buying power in this country.
Yeah, we do.
Right, Chuck?
We have a lot of buying power, and I think what bothers me is because we do have a lot of buying power, but we waste our buying power. Um, we have multimillionaires, we have black billionaires, um, and so much of that money, and it's their money, they can do it with it whatever they choose. But like Oprah, she built a school in Africa. That's a noble idea. But Harpo Studios is a couple of blocks away from a hellhole. That money could have gone to help American children, American black children, in crime in infested neighborhoods or whatever. Harpo Studios, for those that don't know, it's in Chicago. You know, so that money, that American money, could have helped a lot of black children right around the corner from her. But she went to Africa. She had her reasons. That's her money. She can do whatever she wants to do. She's a philanthropist. However, I'm just one of these individuals. Help yourself first. And by helping yourself, I'm talking about black Americans here in the United States. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point. The only celebrity that I know that really is giving back to his community in a positive way and is not going international with his money is LeBron James. He's the only
Okay.
guy that I know, unless you guys know somebody else, that is giving back to the city that he was raised in, Akron. And you're absolutely correct. Instead of sending money to South Africa or places like that, work in your community first and expand that.
Exactly. And that's my thing. It's my airplane philosophy. All of us here have been on an airplane. What's the first thing a stewardess tells you when they're doing their spiel? In case of cabin decompression, if the mask falls from the ceiling, who do you put it on first? You put it on yourself first, because if you pass out, you can't help those around you. So yeah, help yourself by helping your community first. Then once they're good, then you can branch out and start. That's just the way I look at it. But again, a philanthropist is a philanthropist, and they can do whatever they want to do with their money. What you got, Mike?
Well, I just want to say that the whole purpose of this podcast is buying black, but with the history that you gave us, that Steph gave us, we got to understand that unfortunately the legacies that could have been built were disqualified by whatever happened. They had sensed the jealousy or whatever the case that denied the success of older black businesses back in the day. What we need to do now is let people know that if you want us to buy black, um, I think there's a lot of things that you have to do to be consistent. You have to have quality. You have to
Absolutely.
be able to talk to the client or the customer in a professional manner. And I think that if you can uphold those type of marketing and customer service skills, I think you'll be able to have a long term commitment from people. And I think we have a
Yeah.
long way to go. And there's a lot of businesses. I just want to say that once again, there's a lot of e-commerce businesses that I didn't even know were out there. And due to the fact that we've been
Hmm.
involved in this whole thing, as far as the movement is concerned, has opened my eyes up to a lot of stuff. So I will be looking. I will be internet surfing, all these different businesses to see what catches my eye, and I will continue to, try to participate as much as I can. But they just have to know that they have to be ready. Be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
Just be ready for it when the people come. Just give the people what they need, because I would like to continue to patronize these businesses.
That's a good point. And during this, Wayne, I'll get to you in one second. During this COVID-19, everybody, we can't go out, we can't shop, but we can shop online.
Right.
And all you hear, at least all I've heard, is Amazon this, Amazon that. Well, what about, there's plenty of black businesses that are online, just like you said, e-commerce. So, I would say, anybody that's listening, if you're in California, if you're in Colorado, go online, Google it. The black-owned businesses in your area, in your neighborhood, and patronize them. See, this they need it. If you can go there and patronize them, cool. If you can go online and patronize them, even better. Wayne, what you got?
I was just gonna add on to what Mike said. He mentioned something. I think that's really important to what Mike said is that if we're gonna spend our money with our people, we shouldn't be taking a step back to do that.
Right.
We shouldn't be penalized for trying to do the right thing. So right, like Mike said, step it up. Make sure that you're on par with everybody else. If better if you can. But we shouldn't say, you know what, I'm gonna take this abuse because it's my people, as opposed to abuse you wouldn't take in another spot.
That's
And,
right.
and maybe abuse is too strong of a word, but you see where I'm going with it.
Hey, the other thing I want to add to this is the other thing that I would like to add to this is that, all right, let's say we can't buy black. Do some research on the CEOs and board of directors of some of these corporations. So, for example, Home Depot was ran by a white man. He's a Trump supporter. Just put that out there. But Lowe's is run by a black CEO, black male. So if you can shop at Lowe's, that supports a black man that's trying to do something. Now he may not own the company, but he's running the company. So there are some companies out there that we have members on the board of directors as well as maybe even CEO. And if we can support those companies, we are still influencing black dollars.
I think, and that's a good point, Steph. I think the bottom line is, and this is not necessarily a black white thing that we're talking about. It's that you want to go where you're going to get the service at, right? And so if you have it's your dollar, you should be able to spend it where you want to, and you shouldn't have to take any step back to do that, right? And so I agree with you.
Hey, real quick, I want to touch on something that it keeps coming up without coming up, and that is how we're treated in black establishments. You've heard it, I've heard it, we've experienced it. Sometimes we go to. I hate saying this because it's true, but it's not true. It's more of a expectation than anything else. And let me explain what I mean. One of the most horrible phrases to a black business owner to me was, "Hey, I just thought I'd give you a shot. I heard you're a black business, so thought I'd come in and give you a try." That is a defeatist attitude. That means that you're already, as a consumer, you are already expecting this business to be some crap. I heard you're a black-owned business. I thought I'd come in and give you a try. That used to infuriate me. How about you just give me a try on my own merits? Not because I'm black. How about you come in and try my food, see if you like it. If you do, great. Come on back. If not, all right. But that shouldn't be the caveat. And the reason I say that is because in our community for years, it's been, oh, you go to a black-owned business, they don't respect you, they treat you, they talk to you nasty, they're down. That is not the norm. And I'll stand on that all day long. It is not the norm that you go to a black-owned business and you are treated like shit every time you go in there. Sorry, it's just not. Now, has it happened? Of course it has. But it's also happened to me at McDonald's. It's happened to me at Chick-fil-A, believe it or not. People are like, oh, customer service at Chick-fil-A. I've been shit on at Chick-fil-A. Other fast food places. And here's the other thing. You go through the drive-through in McDonald's, and I know this has happened to everybody in here. You go through the drive-through McDonald's, sure enough, you pull off and your order's wrong, right? I'm never going back there again. They always get my order wrong. Let your kids say, I want some chicken McNuggets. Your behind will be in that drive-through the next day. If it's a black business, and let them mess up your order one time. I ordered from you and I didn't get forks in my bag. I will never order from you again. Cancel culture, one and done for black businesses, and that's why that whole saying, I thought I'd give you a try because you're a black owned business. That's, boy, that drives me nuts. There's a comedian, Jess Hilarious. And she said this a couple years ago, I went to a black owned business and I tried to give them I don't support black-owned businesses. And then she gave her a reason. She went to get some crabs, and they didn't put enough seasoning on her crabs. So, now she doesn't support black-owned businesses, this, that, and the other. And I tried it once, and She made that blanket statement, but with her platform and this younger generation, that's dangerous. That's detrimental. Now you got a whole group of black kids thinking black business sucks, and it's just not the truth. This is a pet peeve of mine, and if it sounds like I'm ranting, I kind of am because it I've had to hear that so many times coming into my business, and I appreciate the love that you want to support black business, but when you say that, that business is already doomed to almost doomed to failure. We have to be 10 times as good as a white establishment. The white establishment can fuck up, they can mess up, I don't know how many times, and you'll keep going back to support them. If a black business messes up one time, and it can be something totally insignificant, you're ready to cancel them. We've got to change, in my mind, we've got to change that mentality. And how do we do that? How do we do that? First of all, did what I say even make any sense to you guys?
Oh, absolutely, it makes sense. And I think there is a mentality out there that, we have this very short fuse as it relates to, black-owned businesses and, where it comes from, I don't know. I know personally, that's not the way I attempt to roll. But I will challenge you on one point. You
Mhm.
know, there have been times when, but this is not exclusive to black businesses, I should say. But there have been times when I've felt as if, how should I put it? I've seen people of the other persuasion receive better treatment from black businesses than they would treat, some of their own. I've seen that with my own eyes, and
And
that
I'll touch
that
on
is
that when
something.
you finish.
Yeah, that is something that is sort of disheartening to me. As Wayne pointed out earlier, I don't want to walk into or patronize a business and have the professionalism drop, because I'm there, because I'm being serviced. It needs to be at the same level across the board. So that is something that, I just find a bit disturbing. But like I said, you know, I'm willing to go to management. I'm willing to go to the owner and
Mhm.
to provide that feedback so that again I can continue to patronize them and feel good about it because I'm not going to patronize anybody where I'm not going to feel good about spending my dollar.
Agreed.
Black, white, Asian, I don't care. So again, if we want to, sort of, repair some of those issues, I think we need to go directly to ownership to do that.
Oh, I agree. I agree. But let me touch on something you said real quick. In going into an establishment, especially being a person of color, I've seen just what you said. I've seen a white person come in and the black staff behind the counter address the white person differently. And then the black person comes in and then they treat them differently. That is expectation. What that is just you as a consumer, or not you, but somebody, a black consumer coming into a black establishment, unfortunately, like Just Hilarious, is expecting to be treated differently. That black establishment or black person working that establishment, seeing a black customer comes in, expects to be treated differently by that black customer. So you have managed expectations on both sides. The white customer that comes in, hate to say it, white people own everything. Let's keep it real. White people own everything. So as wrong as it is, I've seen it. People try to make sure that that white dollar is secure by treating them a little better, and they shouldn't. I'm not saying that it's right, but that's what they do. They want to make sure that that white dollar is secured. Because if you screw up the white dollar, I hate to say it, the black dollar just doesn't matter that much. And to me, I'm not saying that wasn't the way I operated. Anybody that's been in my establishment knows. But unfortunately, especially the closer you get to the more urban communities and stuff like that, where you'll see it. You'll see it more often. And Just Hilarious wasn't far off the mark, but the problem I had was she made that blanket statement about all black business, and that's just not the case. What do you think? What do you think, Wayne?
Wait.
Hey, I just want to say real quick. I may have even mentioned this on another podcast, another show that we did, but I know of people, and I've heard this more than once, of people who work in a restaurant, just a regular restaurant, don't know who owns it, and they, as a black person, as a wait staff, they choose or get upset if they get a black table.
I've heard that.
So I mean, So because they have this myth, or like you just said, expectations that you're not going to get a good tip, and they're going to
Right.
work you to death.
Right.
There's like 6, 8 people over there. They're going to work you, and they're going to give you $1. So I mean, but you don't know that, but that's the expectation that they have, and they try to get out of doing that. So I'm just saying that goes into play with what you said with the expectation.
Now, real quick, as an owner, that's why you should step in and you to your staff, white, black, Asian, whatever. You treat everybody the same way. You don't know who's walking through the door. That black guy who's wearing the tattered sweatshirt or whatever we see all the time that you thought it was that guy is it's Saturday. He doesn't dress up on Saturday, but on Monday he's got on a 3-piece suit and he's working on
Yeah.
Wall Street. So you never know who's walking through your doors. That's why you treat everybody the same way,
Right.
regardless of race, class, or whatever. All right. Well, I'm sorry. We're gonna say, Mike.
Yeah, man. I think to let everybody know, listen, we're not bashing. I mean, we're here to uplift, to learn, to move forward, and we're just letting people know that we're dealing with some of our stories that had an effect on us. But what it boils down to is it's the sociology of the whole thing. This goes back hundreds of years. Like Steph brought up the history. We're playing catch up, and the marketing, the unequal quality, the unequal deals that you get. I mean, all these things are what black businesses have to deal with. And I understand that they go through different things or whatever, but when it boils down to is that you shouldn't stereotype, um, people when they come in your restaurant, you know, because they'll stereotype you think you ain't gonna buy nothing, but the dude in front, bought a beef patty, for like $4, but I'm leaving there spending $45. But you passed over me for somebody else. But when you got to me, I spent $50
Yeah.
in your restaurant in a heartbeat. You understand? So my thing is that you just need to be aware. Don't stereotype people. Don't do that internal stuff where it's starting to affect us because we've been affected so much. It's starting to affect us overall. Where you prejudge somebody. Same thing with the tip. It's still going on to this day where I've been out with people for my job and that all of a sudden, they want to put everybody on one tab and all this other stuff, whatever. I'm like, come on, man. Like I said, you should take people at face value. Just because you've been burnt doesn't mean everybody's going to burn you. But those are the things that we have to deal with. So we're going to support, if we're going to buy black, whatever, then there has to be some type of format. You have to understand that this is what people are going through. Hopefully they're listening to us and saying, okay, that's not only how they feel, that's how, maybe their wives feel, that's maybe how their family feels. So they get a gist of what's going on. So it's not just,
Yeah.
hey, I just need your business. You going to buy it or you not? That's not the
Right.
attitude you
Right.
can have. You gotta have. Are you gonna buy it or what? Because I've been through that too. Like, yeah. So how much? Yo, you gonna buy it? Or, I'm like, yo, what? I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
deuce. I don't
Yeah.
even get into it anymore because I'm too old for that stuff. But as soon as somebody start talking slick, I'm like, really? That's all right, man. Have a good day.
Mhm.
I'm out. Because now
Yeah.
my dollar's still in my pocket. All I'm saying is that if we're going to learn how to, number one, I support small businesses no matter what, whether it's female, male, black, white, Latino, whatever. If they're trying to do their thing, I don't mind doing it because we're going against the big box stores. But when it comes to buying black, if I'm going to do that, I just ask that you just have the customer service that's needed to get me to come back to your store. That's
All
all.
right, Stefan. All right,
Hey,
Stefan.
hey, real quick, yeah, real quick. What I want to bring up is the fact that everybody on this podcast, their wives as well as we, pretty much love seafood, or steak. But
Right.
we really don't own seafood houses.
Mm.
And that if someone could, have the cash flow, or let's say the five of us had the cash flow, we could open a seafood house, and actually be welcome. And those are things that we need to diversify because right now all we pretty much own are soul food restaurants, barbecue joints, and maybe
Barbershop,
barbershops, of course, slutty
barbershops
vegan
and
things
funeral
that
homes.
we're comfortable.
Funeral
Right. So
homes.
things that we're comfortable with. But if we open up like a seafood restaurant, a nice seafood restaurant, or a nice steakhouse, or something that is high end, we could attract more of our dollars towards us.
Well, I tell you what, brother, I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push that. I think that is 100% true and accurate, but that's what we do. Black folks, we open food establishments, we open, stuff like that. I would like to see the numbers on black folks in opening up tech firms and things like that because I mean, I've got people in my family that have started, businesses and, but not just service businesses. It seems like when it comes to business, and this is just my perception, 8 times out of 10, the majority of businesses that black people go into are service businesses. Um, and I would like to see more emphasis on, tech firms. Charles, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? There might be out more out there rather than we realize. For
Right.
example, this Killer Mike episode that we've referenced a couple of times, I wasn't aware that there was actually a black cell phone company that was out there. So I think what it boils down to is that we need to be more intentional about seeking out such businesses. And I
Yes.
think that there's a tendency for us to be, lackadaisical and not necessarily do our due diligence to do that research. I mean, there might be some black-owned steakhouses, some black-owned seafood establishments that we're completely unaware of. And so I just think it's important that we do our due diligence, we be intentional about that, because what it boils down to is that the future of black business is not dependent on how white people treat us. The future of black people and black business is dependent on how we treat ourselves.
Thank you,
And we
sir.
need to be, again, be more intentional about that process. But one of the other things I wanted to say real quick, Chuck, is that one of the things that I've always admired about you as a black restaurant owner is that when you promoted, you weren't just promoting yourself, you actually were promoting other black businesses, even when it cannibalized your own business. I
Yes.
remember specifically watching an ad that you did where you were giving props to another barbecue restaurant.
Hmm.
I mean, this was identical to what you were doing, what you were putting out in terms of your restaurant, which meant that your promotion of them could potentially take a little revenue away from your business. But
Hmm.
you continue to do that because you recognize that there's room for everybody.
There
Everybody
is.
can eat. Everyone has the opportunity to grow their business. And I just wanted to say that, man, I really that admired that about you.
I really appreciate that, but let me tell you why I did that. Um, and this is something that I had to get across to them, the other barbecue dudes, restaurant owners in the community. And one guy got it, but the rest of them, still crabs in the barrel. There's enough in the game for everybody. There are how many hamburger places are around? How many? There's enough in the game for everybody. Food taste is subjective. You may come to me and hate my stuff, but go to Smoky Bones and love their stuff. That's okay. Taste is subjective. Maybe it's because you're where you grew up, the whole 9 yards. Long story short is, I would tell them, look, I was secure in what I did because what I tried to explain to them was I'm not in competition with you. I don't know why you think that. I'm not in competition with you. Yes, you own a barbecue restaurant, so do I. You're on the other side of town. You know, Forget that. We still run barbecue as a subculture and it's small. We still run in the same circles, especially when we're doing catering, festivals, and fairs. We're all competing for the same catering jobs and stuff like that. I stood on my flavors. I stood on what I did. I stood on my professionalism. I stood on my customer service. I stood on what I built for 20 years. So when I would talk to them, I would say, I'm not in competition with you because I'm not. I was always in competition with myself because I always strive to get better. My philosophy is be so good that you can't be ignored. And once I had that confidence and it wasn't arrogance. It was just confident because I've been doing this for 20 years. And I had a decent following. I'm making money. I'm okay. So if I can now, this guy who now has opened his restaurant, if I can help him, why not? And I never understood that with other people. You're not taking anything away from me. The people that may come over to you may like your food better than mine. That's okay. But the people that stay with me are the people that like my food. That's okay. So,
Absolutely.
and I say that to other people. Yeah, there's industries where, yeah, that's the kiss of death, where you big up your competition. But once you get out of that crabs in the barrel mentality, and my thing was, instead of me, let's work together. You and I can, if there's another restaurant over there, barbecue restaurant, I can't do it all. So if there's a festival coming to town, there's 30,000 people come to the festival, I can't do it all. Hey, how about we work together? And believe it or not, I've had other barbecue dudes say, man, F you. Nah, I'm gonna get all this money for myself. Nah, I don't need your help. Nah. Okay, he tried it. I partnered with another person. I made $10,000 that weekend. This dude only made two because he was overworked, understaffed, didn't have help. Hold on. So I said all that to say this. I was always in competition with myself. And that's what I tell other people. Stop worrying about what the other people are doing. Worry about yourself, be the best that you can be so good that you can't be ignored. That's always been my philosophy. It worked for me. It may not work for everybody else, but it worked for me. And I appreciate the kudos, brother. And I'm sorry I went on a long tirade, but it does bother me sometimes that, black businesses think that we're always in competition. That's part of the problem also. If you learn to work with your black business partners, the black businesses in the community, you can pool your dollars together and strengthen your community. You can strengthen your position in the community. My restaurant was in a strip center, and the side that my restaurant was on wasn't getting a lot of love. People didn't come to that side because the main stuff was on the other side. So I took it upon myself, and I went to all the business owners that said, hey, look, for $10, we could all pool our money together and do one big advertisement, send it out to the community, and we could all get love. Some people didn't sign on to that, but the majority of them did. We worked together, we brought in, we all prospered, except for the couple of businesses that didn't sign on. But then the next month they saw the value in it and they did it. That's what we should be doing as a black business. We should be working together to strengthen our position. And if we do that, you just level up. You just keep it going. All right.
And
Yeah,
that,
I admire that, brother. I really do.
Yeah.
I would say,
Mike.
and when you say strengthen your position in the community, it's very important because there's a local pizza place in my neighborhood. I think it's Greek or Italian. But the thing about it is that I went there and I ordered a pizza. I got it home and they didn't put bacon on it. Okay, so I called back and I wasn't mad about it. I know the people say, hey man, hey, listen, I got my pizza, but you guys forgot to put bacon on it. He said, oh man, I'm sorry, Mike, whatever. I said, no worry, I'm gonna bring it back. Just throw some bacon on it. He said, nah, keep that and come get a new one, no charge. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Now,
Come get the new
for
one,
that
no,
10,
that one, no charge, whatever the case.
but for that 10
Huh?
or 15 buck loss, that company took, they secured you as a customer, and you're going to continue to go back, right?
Right. And that's my
That's
son's
what,
favorite restaurant. That's where he
right.
goes. But they know it's him. But even the pizza he gets a pizza with no cheese, just sauce. They know it's me. When they pick up and say, yeah, let me get a small pizza with no sauce. Who's this, Mikey? This is what I'm saying. That they know you've been going there so long. It's almost hard to go to another place, even though their pizza might taste a little bit better. It's still hard because you have
Yeah.
that customer service with that company. You're willing to go there. So I think that's very
All right.
important all the way across the board.
Yeah.
Brand loyalty.
Yeah.
Well, topics like this, man, especially for me, I get extremely passionate, and so I apologize if we were kind of all over the place to our listeners. But it is very passionate for not just me, but all of us. But the other passionate part of this is our position in the community as Black people, Black consumers, Black owners. And we need to be taken seriously. Our dollars need to be taken seriously. Our vote needs to be taken seriously. That's where we are now, folks. We've been talking about this for years, and it's upon us. And we need to. This is the time that we need to stick together. Kumbaya, call it what you want, hold hands. If you can't walk down to, go down to, your protest or whatever, you can, protest in other ways. Spend your money in the Black community, buy Black. So we're gonna move forward. I'm gonna get off look. I can talk about this, man, for hours. but you guys have been really patient with us, and you've been listening, and we love you and we appreciate you. Just Be a Man is all about trying to lift people up, and that's what we do, and we hope that and that's what this program was today. Is it was about empowering people about buying black and black businesses and things like that. So if you guys have any comments, if there's anything that you'd like for us to topics that you'd like us to talk about, even on the buying black issue, or any other show topics that you may have, hit us in the comments, and we'll do our best to we respond to all of our comments, by the way, so we'll definitely get back to you. But you guys, anybody else got anything else they want to say to the to our listening audience?
No, good, great job,
Right,
bro.
well,
Appreciate it.
yeah. Look, this is anytime and every time. Just Be a Man. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us, and that's it for this episode of Just Be a Man. And thanks for listening.
Deuces.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Just Be a Man podcast. Be sure to check us out on social media at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, where you can follow, like, subscribe, and comment at Just Be a Man 2020. We will love to receive your feedback. Also, if there is a topic you would like us to discuss, please leave your suggestion in the comments. Remember to tune in next Wednesday for more meaningful discussion. Until then, we wish you peace and blessings.